Texas Football Tonight, Week 4 edition. My name is Greg Tepper, Editor-in-Chief and undefeated cage fighter, alongside the Duchess of the Dorks, the Queen of the Hill Country, Ashley Pickle. Welcome to Week 4 and welcome to Thunderdome.
These intros just keep getting worse.
Okay, no, never mind. I thought you were going to say better. I thought you were going to say the exact opposite.
Significantly worse.
I don't know.
Technically, I can't get onto you too much because I don't think you've ever even attempted to be in a cage fight, so you probably are undefeated at it, but I
am 100% undefeated. It's great.
I just don't feel like that's how records work.
Well, I will tell you that this week, Week 4 of the Texas high school football season, which we are going to spend the next 90 minutes getting you caught up to speed, felt like a cage fight at times because this week we knew was going to have some high-profile matchups, and Ashley Pickle, sometimes... Like, I don't know about you. Sometimes we do a show, Texas Football Today, twice a week. We talk high school football all year round, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes I worry we overhype things, right?
Yeah.
You know, because we live in our own bubble. Fair to say that this week lived up to the hype.
It absolutely lived up to the hype. We have so many incredible highlights and scores to get throughout this entire thing, but I think the thing for me is specifically when you look at a couple of the weeks throughout the year, we got to be honest, there's a lot less games happening because it's a big bye week. Week 4 and week 6 typically are those two. So you might not always have the grand swath of things like we had the first 3 weeks. But when you put out a top 10 list and all of the top 10 games of the week end up being exactly what we hype them up to be, that is the most. I'll take 10 of those games rather than a bunch of those.
Yeah, banger after banger this week. You want to kick us off with our Friday Night Focus?
Yes, as we do every single week here on Texas Football Tonight, we get you set up of what's the mindset heading into this week. Where are our eyes going? And the first one in week 4 of our Friday Night Focus is de facto district title games. I can't believe we're saying this. But literally, this is the first week for a lot of programs to have district games, and we might be crowning champions pretty much unless stuff goes super wrong.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of games we're going to talk about throughout the course of the evening that were, in a lot of ways, the district championship game. Things get a lot of room left to play, but there were districts that were in a large part decided, or at least the path was charted of what they're going to look like the rest of the way. So I think you take a look, even though it's week 4, and even though it's a long way to November, right? When we wrap up the regular season, I think tonight you had some games where district championships were won and district championships were lost.
We take a look at our second point here for our Friday Night Focus heading into week 4, and we go to final non-district game tune-up. So while there were a few of those district games happening, a lot of times they're in the 9-team districts or, even a little bit bigger than that. But for a lot of teams in a more normal size district that we're used to seeing, this is really their last chance before the second coming of the Texas high school football season starts for them.
You want to be peaking at the right time, right? Essentially, you would talk with coaches. There's 3 seasons. There's the non-district, there's district, and there's playoffs. And you want to be improving and hitting your stride at the end of each of those, right? Right now, for a lot of these teams, non-district games are wrapping up, and the games are going to start counting. So you want to be playing your best football right now. And for a number of teams, especially in the smaller school ranks, a lot of those teams had those final non-district tune-ups to see exactly what they're going to be looking at heading into the games that actually matter. I mean, every game matters, but especially those district games, you want to be playing your best football as you get into those games that are going to get you into the playoffs.
And that's kind of the perfect segue into the last portion here of our Friday Night Focus, the first big test for contenders. There have been some people that went through an absolutely grueling non-district slate. There are others that maybe didn't. And tonight, they kind of got punched in the mouth for the first time.
I think that's it, is that there's a number of teams that, quite frankly, went through and had a record that wasn't necessarily indicative of how good they are, or we don't necessarily know. But now they got an opportunity to really get tested in a huge week 4 matchup. And I think that's what's really important, is seeing these teams get pushed, get tested. And in a lot of these games, these teams came out and looked exactly as good as we thought they would, right? A lot of them passed that test. That's what I think is most fun about this, is that we are getting to see where we are wrong and then sometimes where we're right. It's rare. It does happen. I promise. At TexasFootball.com, it does happen. So that is our Friday Night Focus, how we're setting the table for what's going on tonight. And, of course, we, on Thursdays on Texas Football Today, the sister show of this show, right?
Yeah, the OG show, honestly.
We roll out our top 10 games of the week. These are the games that we had our closest eye on heading into week 4, and let's see how all of those shook out. Let's go to the score zone and see the top 10 games of the week. Some of those you'll see coming up. That's because we got highlights, baby. We don't want to spoil the fun. But you see number 1 there, South Lake Carroll, a 44-6 winner over Euless Trinity. The number 1 team in 6A, in a lot of respects, stakes their claim as the number 1 team in 6A for some other reasons we'll talk about later. But the Dragons looked every bit the part of the best team in the largest classification.
This, to me, felt like one of those de facto district title games like we talked about. South Lake Carroll, in another one of those massive districts in 4-6A, went up against Byron Nelson last week, and you were able to go, okay, man, they really stomped them, which means that Euless Trinity, also coming off a very good win in their first district game, this was it. Yeah. You're going, if one of these teams can't stop the other one, then and this is a runaway. I mean, they've taken the 2 best teams in that district and allowed 9 total points.
Yeah, wildly impressive. Especially, we're going to talk a lot about the offense, but the defense I thought was very impressive. Tidehaven takes on Ganado tonight, goes down to Ganado and hands them a receipt after last year. Gets a 38-12 win over them. The number 2 team, or number 1 team, I think. Yeah, I think the number 1 team in 3A Division 2. Gets a win going on the road, being the 2A Division 1 state champs. How about Kilgore going on the road to Pleasant Grove and really smothering the Hawks team? They get an 18-6 win over Pleasant Grove. A huge game down in Southeast Texas. How about that rock fight between Belleville and Hitchcock? And Belleville pulls out a 17-14 win. Defensive battle there. You had your eye on number 6. Austin Westlake scores a 37-14 win over Cibolo Steel. Pulling away later in that game and really staking their claim as a team to watch in 6A.
Yeah, we were interested in this for a lot of different reasons. I mean, when you take a look at what Westlake has done this season, they've been traveling like no other. They head down to the RGV, then they go up against Atascocita, going all the way down to Houston last week, end up coming out with that win. And this was the first time that it's kind of like, okay, let's sit at home and let's see what we've got here. This is a very good Cibolo Steel team, and it's always a big deal when a 2-1-0 team tries to come and punch up in one of the Austin area teams. And I watched a lot of that game tonight. Westlake just ran the ball down their throat. It didn't matter how they had to do it. They were Cibolo Steel was just mismatched in the trenches, and Westlake looked like a very, very complete team and a very big contender in the 6A realm.
We'll get to Duncanville and Waxahachie here in a moment. Richmond Randall in a Thursday night affair gets a big win over Fort Bend Marshall, 51-6. The number 2 team in 5 Division 2 passes a big district test. Stephenville with a big win, a homecoming win there at their new stadium, 52-13 winners over Abilene Wiley. And then Post survives Slayton 28-27 in a thriller out there in West Texas.
That was a game that Matt Stepp, I'll give him the major credit for that. He had been juicing himself up about that game all week long, and it came into fruition. A really, really tough fought battle. And honestly, Slayton was up for a lot of that game. Post ended up crawling their way back in at the very end, and in impressive fashion, the Antelopes look really good out there. It
was very impressive there. There you go. Our top 10 games of the week. We didn't get to the Tyler Chapel Hill Carthage game. We didn't get to Duncanville Waxahachie. We don't want to spoil the fun for you because we have got highlights.
A lot of fun with those
of those games coming up here, and you won't believe the way that they shook out. We are just getting started here on the Week 4 edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We have a huge slate of highlights, scores, analysis, big-time coaches from some of the biggest games across the state who are going to join us live if you stick with us after the break.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Yo, these Katie's are fire. Bro, you work here?
Whatever, kid. Take notes. Yo, I can guard pro in these.
I can guard you and route you up.
You sure about that?
Not anymore.
Fellas looking for a quarterback?
The goal!
Billy needs cleats. You're right, Billy. These do bring out my eyes.
Every shoe for every athlete, only at Dick's.
Dick's is the GOAT.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and Baylor Scott & White Health.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, back at it, a Week 4 edition of the show. Greg Tepper, Ashley Pickle, taking you through the action around Texas high school football in Week 4. And let's kick off with some Thursday night action. And we'll kick it off with our Baylor Scott & White first highlight of the night. Katy Cinco Ranch down in the Houston area. First quarter, Cinco Ranch. This is going to be Davis Roop finding Jacob Chavez for a 5-yard connection. Cinco Ranch up 7-0. Back comes Katy. And boy, howdy, Trey Hill had himself a game. A 47-yard touchdown run here ties this game up at 7 apiece. Still in the first quarter. Roop, again, this time looking deep. He's got a man! It's Maxwell Williams behind the defense, and he will go 78 yards for the score, outrunning everybody to the pylon. It's 14-7 Cinco Ranch. Then more from Katy and more from the ground game. C.J. Watts picking his way through. In for a 71-yard touchdown. Off to the races. It's 14-0, or 14-14 rather. Still in the first quarter. Now 4th down. Cinco Ranch going for it. Roop finds Chavez again. This time a 7-yard connection. Then Katy goes to the air. Jackson Franklin drops this dime to Drake Hopkins for a 27-yard score. We're not up at 21. Then more from Katy. This time, it's a little wraparound draw to Trey Hill. Boy, howdy, he is off to the races. 59 yards to the house. Katy takes their first lead of the game. It's 28-21. Then, still later in the game, this is Choney Manuel in for a 21-yard score. Extends lead to 42-21. Cinco would not go away. Marcus Galden with a 39-yard touchdown run off the right side. Look at the blocking on the edge. Very impressive there. But Katy wins this one 56-28. Let's go to East Texas. Grand Saline taking on Joaquin just off the Louisiana border. First quarter, Indians didn't see the ball once. That's right. It's Joaquin's Zachary Kelly. He's going to set them up just outside the red zone, and the Rams would punch it in on the pass. Here, he's going to drop back and throw it, but somebody left some laundry on the turf. The touchdown is going to be wiped out. And then one play later, that would be a critical call, because one play later, disaster strike. Pass from Trenton Runnels, intercepted by Grand Saline, and it's Colton Prox. Takes it back for a pick 6. And a touchdown Rams becomes touchdown Indians. Grand Saline goes on to win this one 29-7.
We go to the DFW now, and it's Rockwall taking on North Crowley. They'll get things started off here with a 4-yard touchdown run from Jarrell Smith. Then, again, DeMarcus Harris taking the snap, and it's Jarrell Smith going in for his second touchdown of the night. Into the third quarter we go, and he's making them look like they're trying to chase a grease pig with flip-flops, man. I mean, he just cannot stop. Third quarter now. Staying there, Rockwall, Caden Castro would punch that one in. To the fourth quarter we go. Jarrell Smith, another one. North Crowley then up 28-16. In the fourth quarter, Caden Castro said, hey, there's not only one good running back here. Then we're up 28-23. Fourth quarter, Rockwall taking the very first lead of the night. Caden Castro with another score. Fourth quarter, snip, snap, snip, snap, and it is Smith who will take it all the way and regain it. Then in the fourth, Rockwall with only seconds left, and it gets them up 37-35 with one Hail Mary left to go. Can he bring it down? No, he can't. Rockwall will snap a win streak reaction. All right. Well, we'll get some reaction here.
Great win. Can help us keep working towards our goal, keep winning, just build momentum, you know? That's just JFND mentality. It's what coaches are pushing into us every day. It's what we're working for every day. Best team in state.
So there we go. Caden Castro talking about an incredible win there, snapping a 33-game regular season winning streak there for the North Crowley Panthers. As we take a look at other Thursday night scores across the state, Greg Tepper, how about El Paso Franklin putting their full foot on the gas, 73-20 over Americas?
Yeah, the Ernie Power show continues out there in the Sun City. How about Midlothian really defensively shutting down a high-powered Harker Heights attack 28-7? Odessa Permian goes on the road to Tascosa and gets a nice win in Amarillo, 23-21. In the Alamo City, Alamo Heights gets a 33-30 win over Schertz Clements. Killeen Shoemaker all over Waco U last night, 47-28. And Elysian Fields, in a battle of unbeatens, takes down Hawkins, 39-14. Let's talk a little bit about that the Rockwall North Crowley game.
Mm-hmm.
A back-and-forth game, our Dave Campbell's Rising game of the week, and wildly impressive, I think, from Rockwall to hand North Crowley the first loss in the regular season under Ray Gates. That's really, really impressive. And I think that what you saw from Rockwall was a resiliency and an ability to make plays when it mattered the most. Down the stretch, down in the game, to come through time after time when a lot of teams might have seen a defending state champ across the field and say, well, we're down, we're gonna end up losing this game. Instead, they decided we're going to keep pushing, and they came away with a really impressive win for Trey Brooks' company.
They absolutely did. And even more than that, too, it's not only when it's back and forth to be able to do that. When you are able to come back from behind, we watched that game all night last night, and North Crowley, obviously, there was Jarrell Smith was just blazing from the very get-go. For Rockwall to then turn around and be able to come back in that fashion at the very, very last 18 seconds of the game, I mean, it was incredibly impressive by Trey Brooks and his squad. And talk about a incredible district that they're fixing to head into.
Yeah, 10-6A is going to be really, really tough. Let me ask you a question. What's your level of concern with North Crowley? Because the way that I put it is that they had kind of been... They won the games, but they'd been flirting with losses in their first couple of games. I want to be clear, they're playing really good competition. It seems to me that they played with fire a little bit and they got burnt in this time.
So it's funny because if you've watched the other 3 games that North Crowley has played, it's almost a tale as old as time, where they come out in the first half and they're slow. It's lackadaisical. They go into halftime, whatever Ray Gates says to his squad, they pull it out and they come out and just put on an offensive show in the second half. This was flipped. They came out, they scored a whole lot. They're thinking, oh man, we did it. We finally got past that first half hump, and now we can kind of maybe lay up a little bit in the second half, and Rockwall came back and took advantage of that. So I think Ray Gates' ball club is good. I don't think there's reason to put a whole lot of concern into it, but they do have to start playing a full 48 minutes. You can't rely on just one half of football to consistently keep winning you games.
Well, and I will just say this. Here's the good news for Ray Gates and company. Like, I know he doesn't like losing. I've talked to the man. He doesn't like losing. That is their last non-district game. They open district play next week against Mansfield Legacy. I will say that I don't think it's going to be a fun week of practice at North Crowley.
No. I think they're going
to coach them hard, and they're going to get back up on the saddle there. So North Crowley falls to Rockwall, a huge, huge win for Trey Brooks Company. Keep an eye on District 10-6A there with Rockwall. Let's roll on some highlights.
How about that? We head out to East Texas as Harleton was taking on Beckville. This one is a Thursday game. The Beckville Bearcats hosting Harleton at RC Stadium on Thursday night. Beckville's Grayson Hicks. He's going to take the handoff on the jet sweep, turns up the field, and picks up some positive yards before being pushed out of bounds. The cheerleaders were all having fun out here. Later on that drive, Jordan Prince, taking the handoff, works his way through the traffic and finds the end zone on a 9-yard touchdown run. Extra point is good. That'll put them up 7-0. Then Harleton, they're trying to answer. Look at that Beckville defense. I mean, all over him right there. And that's something that we've become accustomed to seeing from Beckville. The bands were warming up there right before halftime. Beckville would go on to win.
To Rio Grande Valley we go. Edinburgh taking on La Maquina Amarilla. That's Ed Couch Elsa. And the Bobcats of Edinburgh going to kick things off. Aiden Sanchez going to hand the ball off to Woodrow Villarreal. Picks up good yardage into Ed Couch territory down to the 40. Then a couple plays later, the handoff again to Woodrow Villarreal. This time up the left side into your living room in for a score. It's 7-0 Bobcats. Now Ed Couch Elsa with the ball, looking to respond. Isaiah Cisneros is going to catch the ball here. Here's the problem. He plays for Edinburgh. Interception. The touchdown would be called back due to holding, but the interception would hold up, and that would set up a little bit of touchdown vulturing here from the Bobcats. The defense earned that. Penalty called it back. This time, Aiden Sanchez looking, firing to Woodrow Villarreal in for the score. Touchdown, Bobcats up 15-0. Then, Ed Couch-Elsa looking to get back into it. Throwing, but it's Moises Hernandez who intercepts it. With 2 minutes left in the first half, that was a big play there to continue the momentum heading into halftime. That would set up a couple of plays later, a 40-yard field goal here. Put the Bobcats up 18-0 at the break. Your final score, Edinburgh wins it 35.
To the Coastal Bend we go, and what a game it was from start to finish there at Buccaneer Stadium. It was a clash between Cal Allen and the Corpus Christi Carroll Tigers. But right here, the energy filled Buccaneer Stadium. And Carroll couldn't score on the first drive, but the Wildcats get it done on the ground. Carroll looking to answer, and they do. It's Nate Banzit who throws a dot to Stephen Manchester and even things up 7-7. Fans, they're getting fired up. Then Carroll changes quarterbacks, but the next drive finishes the same. It was Seth Netherland who throws the short pass to Arellano there. He catches it and makes him miss. Then Carroll defense looking to get a stop on the next drive, but Cal Allen wants to score. Wildcats are in the red zone, and it's Connor Kolsterman. Throws a pass. It's deflected by the defender, but caught in the end zone there by Drayson Gomez. This puts them down 14-13 at the half. The second half was close. Both teams playing really hard, but in the final minutes, Reese Rusher. You're going to understand why his name is Reese Rusher, because on the ensuing kickoff, we're going to pass the ball first. How about that? Because why not score a little bit more, says Cal Allen. They've been known to do that over the years. A Wildcat team that is incredibly hungry. Back on offense, trying to go. Look at that big old fella. Here is the ensuing kickoff. Reese Rusher back to receive. Can he do it? Pretends like he hands it off to his teammate. No, sirree. He's going to take it all the way back. Cal Allen would go on to win the game 26-21.
To the Super Syntax we go. Killian Shoemaker taking on Waco University. Pick up the second half, it's out of 14-14. Monty Daly Addison looking to fire deep. Jamal Polite Jr. in for the score. 2-point conversion, no good. Gray Wolves are up 20-14. But then the very next play, the kickoff, right? And again, we only show kickoffs for one of two reasons. Joshua Navarez-Torres will kick it deep. London Smith has trouble fielding it, but don't worry. He has got eyes for the end zone. 90 yards later, the four-star prospect gives University a 21-20 lead. Then, after a nice return from Shoemaker, it's Dale Addison again. Damani Dale Addison, a name to know. He's going to go to Polite again. Makes one of the best catches you'll see this season. Hauls it in for the one-handed grab. Shoemaker up 26-21. It was all Gray Wolves from there. They moved to 4-0 on the year with a 47-28 win over Waco University. Waco University falls to 2-2. Let's take one more look at that one-handed catch. What a grab! Wow. There, Damani Day, or rather, it is Jamal Polite Jr. in for the score. What Shoemaker wins it 47-28. So, a lot of Thursday night action across the state of Texas. Obviously, we had the headliner there we talked about with North Crowley with that win. But I would say overall, across the state of Texas, you saw a fair number of district games because you got teams sharing stadiums that they had to, that they're playing Thursday night games. Another thing to keep in mind, you saw one of the games we talked about being Hawkins taking on Elysian Field. And you're thinking, why are they playing on a Thursday night? That is because there's a referee shortage. There's an official shortage in the state of Texas. And so to get good crews, you have to play sometimes on Thursday night. That's one thing to keep an eye on. So, well, and
I mean, who's complaining about having more football on Thursday nights? That's the best part about this, whether it's a shared stadium, whether it's a referee type thing like that. There is so much football going on in the state of Texas, and we are here to bring it all to you on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. Coming up, we'll have more highlights, coach interviews, and all the goodness. We'll be back right after the break.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Fueling the Future Award, presented by Dutch Bros, honors exceptional teachers across Texas who go above and beyond to energize and inspire their students every day. These educators exemplify passion, dedication, and a commitment to shaping the leaders of tomorrow. Each month, one deserving teacher is recognized with a commemorative award and a $500 donation courtesy of Dutch Bros to support their academic department and further their impactful work in the classroom. To nominate your teacher, visit texasfootball.com/fuelingthefuture.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antonio. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Uh-oh. You good?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, if your back hurts, you should be able to get the care you need. So you can get in, get out, and get back out there. Like, fast.
Well, that is kind of my thing.
It's not complicated. Scheduling's easy on the MyBSW Health app.
Football tonight. We keep the party going all night long. Highlights, score updates, and everything in between. And let's not waste any time. We head right over to the score zone and we take a look at the Texoma region. And how about starting off with an absolute bang there? Pottsboro and Munster. We've talked a lot about Munster and what we think they're capable of. Obviously, another time of them punching up a classification into 3A Division I Pottsboro and hanging with another very difficult team.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Pottsboro here. That's a really, really nice win. Take on Munster, even though that's 2A Division II team. Again, this is going to be a Munster team that you're going to look at their record. They're going to be 2-2, and you're going to be like, well, what in the world? But I would say that is still probably the team to beat in 2A Division or 2A Division II. With all due respect to Shiner. How about Honeygrove bouncing back in a nice win over Blue Ridge, 53-49. Bells takes down Cooper tonight, 48-34. Collinsville bounces back in a big way with a nice win over Wolf City, 42-14. Lindsay all over Leonard tonight, 76-21. And then Era, undefeated Era, now 4-0 on the year. Very impressive from the Hornets. This is a program that I think is turning things around. Era is, I think, one of the highest, quickest risers, I think, in Texas high school football. But overall, I think you take a look at this. Obviously, a lot of focus is going to be on the Pottsboro versus Munster game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that what Pottsboro versus Munster is probably the showcase matchup there in the Texoma region. I think it's time to pay attention to what Pottsboro's doing. They're now 3-1 on the year. Their one loss on the year was back in week 2 when they lost at Sanger, which was punching up to 4A. I'm a fan of this Pottsboro team. I think especially if they're able to continue to get this kind of offensive production, they're going to be a team to watch there in the Texoma region.
Yeah, Pottsboro is always one of those teams in 3A Division I that you anticipate to make a long playoff run. And Matt Poe will be the first person to tell you that in the past 3 out of 4 years, they haven't made it past the by-district round, and they're looking to right that wrong. And I think between Caden Humphrey, the quarterback, his top target, wide receiver Xavier Brady, we wondered how their offensive line was going to really start to come along, losing a lot to graduation, and it seems like they're bouncing back to the Pottsboro that we've been so used to.
Yeah, I think absolutely Pottsboro, very big win, very, very impressive tonight. We're rolling on here on Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight with scores and highlights rolling into the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership. We appreciate you spending part of your evening with us. That's there on the Red River kind of Texoma region. Let's now go up to the Panhandle and check out some other scores in the Panhandle tonight. How about Canyon West Plains, number 2 team in 4A Division I, looking the part?
I literally asked you, I was like, is this score correct? We know how good Canyon West Plains is. They're going up against a Bushland team that's maybe not at the top portion of what we're used to seeing, but Canyon West Plains, this to me, Tepper solidifies the fact that they really are deserving of being the number 2 team.
Yeah, that looked fantastic. Meanwhile, the oldest rivalry in Amarillo tonight went down again tonight. Amarillo-Palo Duro, a 35-14 winner over Amarillo. The defense for Palo Duro has been rock solid for them. In fact, I believe I took them in the on Texas Football Today on Thursday.
You absolutely
Palo Duro
did.
Defense.
And that was the question, was which defense was going to be able to get a stop against both of those powerful offenses.
Yeah, really impressive from Palo Duro. Meanwhile, the 6-man ranks, Miami gets a really nice win over White Deer in what I believe is a battle of unbeatens. Dumas gets a win over Plainview tonight, 43-35. Sudan all over Vega tonight, 35-6. And how about Canadian? Another big win, 65-28. I know last year was not up to the standard that Canadian is used to, but I would say the standard is back there in Wildcat country.
Andy Cavaliers' ball club is rocking exactly how he wants it to. We've known them to be so good at a high-powered offense, but I've been impressed with their defense. Holding a Muleshoe team to under 30 points is not something that a lot of people can do, and I think that they're a team that you're going to want to watch out for there in Region 1.
Those are scores from the Panhandle. Of course, you can go to texasfootball.com/scores and check out all of the scores from across the state of Texas, texasfootball.com/scores. Meanwhile, huge game in the Brazos Valley. The biggest game in the Brazos Valley tonight, the Battle of College Station, as the A&M Consolidated Tigers score a 38-21 win over their crosstown rival, the College Station Cougars. 38-21 is your final, and we are pleased to be joined by the head coach of those A&M Consolidated Tigers. Coach Brandon Schmidt joins us on the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Hotline. Coach, we so appreciate your time. Congratulations on the win. I want to ask you first and foremost about this particular game, where facing in a big rivalry game, this was a punch-counterpoint punch type game. What allowed you guys to land that final punch and the knockout blow?
Yeah, our kids they're just tough and resilient, and we don't really have the highs and lows sometimes. And I thought our kids just kept playing. They kept fighting. They kept playing. They understood. They understand what this rivalry is, and they know that in the fourth quarter it's going to be a one-score game, and you just got to keep your head on straight and keep playing.
Coach, obviously, this is a massive game when it comes to being the kind of the bragging rights, of College Station. Who is the team of College Station? I know that every coach is going to say, hey, it's one game at a time. It doesn't matter. But is there any extra juice that goes into a game like that you can feel really good about this win?
You know what? I learned from a former player of mine that some games are more important than others. He'd get upset at me for downplaying certain games, and so I kind of took that from him. And you know what? This is a big game. It is. It's for bragging rights in College Station, and it's two really good football teams going at it. And there's 8,000 people in the stands, and it's a packed house, and it's an awesome environment. And so, yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit extra behind that game.
Coach, I want to give you an opportunity to brag on your defense. This is a defense that's been touched up the last couple of weeks, come through when they needed it most. Tonight, it felt like from the outset, outside looking in, it looked like you guys had your best defensive performance of the year so far. What did you see from your defense tonight that had you encouraged?
They got some big fourth down stops. At times, College Station did a really good job moving the ball on us. But defensively, our kids came through with some key stops on third and fourth down situations that were able to really create some good field position for us and create some momentum for us.
Coach, on the offensive side of the ball, let's talk about your new signal caller. Holt Goodwin had some big shoes to fill. What have you seen from him that you're really enjoying so far this season?
Well, Holt got his first start of the season tonight, and I thought he really did a great job. Him and Samari Moore started the first 3 games of the season for us, and they've both done a great job for us. And we're fortunate that we have 2 really good quarterbacks in our program, and they'll both continue to see playing time, and we'll see what happens. But I thought Holt capitalized tonight, and he did a great job.
Coach, you open up district play with a win over Pflugerville-Weiss. You followed up with a win over College Station. The good news is you get to relax now. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I'm actually checking here, and you guys got to take on Austin Anderson right back into the fire. How do you refocus your guys knowing that this next game is, again, probably the biggest game of the year so far?
Yeah, it's they're doing a great job over at Austin Anderson. Coach Hatcher and his staff, they got some really talented players. Going into this week, I told our kids, I said we got to have 12 great days, and then I'll give you all a break. So we got Austin Anderson in a bye week. So really just trying to give our kids a picture of what the next 2 weeks look like. And so the kids have done a great job of stepping up and really just showing up to work every day. And we'll do it for 7 more days and hopefully get a good outcome Friday night.
He's Brandon Schmidt. He's the head coach of the 3-1 A&M Consolidated Tigers, a big win over College Station. Coach, we appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the win, and go get Austin Anderson next week.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Absolutely. There he goes. Brandon Schmidt, head coach of the A&M Consolidated Tigers. It's a really big win and a big rivalry game. And the funny thing is that A&M Consolidated is big brother there in College Station, but College Station has had their number. Like, that's the thing. So
until last year, they were 7-0 in the first until last year when they finally got over that hump and beat them.
And so to finally get that win, I thought was really impressive. And again, now they are with a win over Weiss, and because we're talking about district, I know we're talking about district standings in week 4, but with a win over Weiss and a win over now College Station, if they beat Anderson next week, like, they are fully in the driver's seat for the district championship.
Absolutely. Those are by far the top 3 ranked teams in that district. And it's funny because I feel like in years past, you could almost pencil it in where it's like, okay, College Station versus A&M Consolidated, that's going to be who wins it. Then Weiss started to get really, really good, and that was an insane game last week. So I think the other side of this is they went out there, they handled business against College Station. This was a good, solid win. Weiss, you kind of got that up and down, the craziness. They've proven that they can win in almost every fashion already, only 4 weeks into this. Really excited to watch that game against Austin Anderson next week.
Let's check out some other scores from the Brazos Valley. A big game involving one of the best teams in the Brazos Valley, Franklin and Salina. That score is actually flipped there. Salina gets a 33-22 win over Franklin. But I think for punching up from 3A Division 1 up to 4A Division 1 to take on the number 1 team in the state, that's number 1 versus number 1 actually. 3A Division 1 and 2A and 4A Division 1. I thought Franklin acquitted themselves pretty well in that game with an 11-point loss, but really impressive on a neutral site there.
Oh, incredibly impressive. And to be honest, that score was a little bit of it was a slow burn to get to that point. This game was like 8-9. For a long time in the first half of the game. Obviously, both offenses got going, but a major clash in style there and just a really, really solid win for the Franklin Lions. You continue on down the line there. Hearn with an impressive 27-6 victory over Marlin. Jewett Leone, 55-0 against Malakoff Crossroads. What a show out for them. You move over there, Shepherd, 30-17 over Anderson Shiro. How about this? Brenham, 15, Colleen, 13.
Look.
How about the Kangaroos?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you win. It matters that you win. And now that is a 5A against a 6A, right? But Killeen at 0-3 fought really hard in this one. Let me tell you about Killeen. They are now 0-4 on the year, but they have a 16-point loss to 6A undefeated Cedar Park Vista Ridge, a 5-point loss to Killeen Ellison, a 7-point loss to Belton, and now a 2-point loss to Brenham. That is a team that is better than their record indicates, but for Brenham, awfully impressive. Now 4-0 on the year, and then rounding it all out, Navasota gets a really nice 56-21 win over Waco. Those are some scores from the Brazos Valley. Of course, we appreciate Brandon Schmidt of A&M Consolidated hopping on with us. We're going to take a quick break here. We got highlights rolling into the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Studios. We will have them for you after the break.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Texas Army National Guard are honored to present the Coach of the Week Award, celebrating one head coach in 7 different classifications. That's 6A all the way down to 6-man, and of course, private school every single week. Think your head coach deserves some recognition? Nominate them under our weekly Twitter and Facebook post. Those will come out Friday at 10:30 p.m., Saturday 8:30 p.m., and Sunday at 6:30 p.m. That's facebook.com/Dave Campbell's or at DCTF on Twitter. Thank you to Texas Army National Guard for helping spotlight the hard work and dedication of high school head coaches across Texas.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to partner with Sport Tyler to award the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week, which recognizes the top offensive player in Division I college football, who also exhibits the enduring characteristics that define Earl Campbell: integrity, performance, teamwork, sportsmanship, drive, community, and tenacity. It all leads up to the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose Award, announced in January. Congratulations to this week's winner of the Earl Campbell Tyler Rose National Player of the Week. For more information, visit earlcampbellaward.com.
I've been here for 10 years, and the changes that we've gone through from being a relatively small community to now being a ISD with 4 high schools and countless middle schools and elementary schools, we never lost that feel of community. The people that live around Prosper High School, they go to Prosper High School, that feed our elementary schools, they're invested in our programs, they're invested in our school. Prosper is special not because of the buildings, not because of the facility. Sure, that draws eyes, that brings people in, but it's the people that keep people here. I nominated Ms. Cooper for Community Leader of the Week because of the impact she has with our students, to help them not only get through what they're going through now, but to set up for the future.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antonio. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Dave Campbell's Texas football tonight. It's the after party. We know what you're doing. Coming home from a game, snuggling up maybe with a cup of hot cocoa.
It's too hot for that.
Thanks for joining us on a Friday night. You have many choices to spend your Friday night with your friends, but instead you're spending it with your internet friends. We appreciate that. Did you say we're friends?
No, not you. I'm friends with them.
Let's go to some highlights. Let's go to the Hill Country. Lampasas Badgers taking on Wimberley, and this is Bryson Roberts finding Jaden McElwain for the touchdown. It's a 30-yard score. Lampasas up early. Then his second touchdown of the game, McElwain on the screen pass. Great blocking, and then hits the Jets. In for a 57-yard score. It's 17-7 Lampasas, but Wimberley would not go quietly. The Texans would fight back. This is Madden Wharton plunging in for a 4-yard score. It's 24-14. Still Lampasas on top. Then Wimberley again. Jackson Parker dropping back, firing deep, finds Colt Wright. What a grab! In for the score, 40 yards. That knocks up at 24, but Lampasas would have an answer. It's KJ Reed in for the score. Lampasas knocks off Wimberley, 31-24. Let's go to the Hill Country scores and see more scores from across the state.
I don't want to talk about it.
Jarrell knocks off Lando tonight, 40-29. We don't have to talk about it.
Jarrell is a classification higher. Yeah. And from the sounds of it,
are you guys hearing the excuse train pulling into the station?
You know, Atlanta did not play their best game tonight. They did
now,
not.
I want to be very clear about something. Jarrell is a very good team.
Very, very,
4-0 now. It's a very good. We're giving Pickle crap about it, but
yes.
Jarrell's 4-0.
Mm-hmm. Classification higher.
Jarrell ran for 740 yards last week.
Insane. Their rushing attack is absolutely insane.
I think they just wore down Lano, plain and simple. But Jarrell gets the win tonight, 40-29. Meanwhile, Smithson Valley still chugging along, defending state champs. Big winners tonight over Bernie Champion, 41-14. Blanco gets a win over Tom Moore out of Ingram. How about Comfort with a 49-28 win over Johnson City? Bandera, shout out Brady Keene, 56-0 winners over San Antonio Cole. And Bernie, a winner tonight over San Antonio East Central, 49-13.
I was really impressed by that Bernie score. Now, I think that they're better than San Antonio East Central just in general, but for them to go out, and this was really kind of their first big test, in my opinion. They won against Laredo United in week 2. They beat Medina Valley in week 3, but their only other kind of measuring stick that we had there was their week 1 loss to Piper, and we started going, okay, what's happening here? But I think these past 3 games, it looks like they've kind of righted that ship, and this was a pick'em game in our computer before this game ever even started. So I mean, Bernie really showing out with their offense.
Yeah, I'm impressed by that, and I think they were able to get things into gear offensively. A lot of change there, obviously, with a new head coach, new quarterback, but that's a really important win as they kind of careen towards district play. What else you got, Pickle?
How about we head out to the DFW and we take a look at the game that we had our eye on. It was 11-6A's Duncanville taking on Waxahachie. And buckle up for this one, team. Duncanville, right here, obviously down 9-6, and that will be Braden Arnold who goes in for the 17-yard rushing touchdowns, gets our score up 13-9. Then, how about that? The pick 6 from Victor Lincoln. He'll take that one all the way back to the house. Duncanville takes a 20-9 lead. Then here we go. Duncanville again on offense, trying to widen the gap, and it's Asen Theus who will go 80 yards to the house. It's looking like Duncanville's running away with it, 27-9.
It's over, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be over. I mean, look at this. What else would they do? Well, how about Jordan Smith? Almost loses the ball there. It looks like absolute chaos for Waxahachie, and he will go 80 yards the other way. They try to go for the 2-point conversion and they don't get it, but the score is back now to 27-15, and we're going, okay, the hatch. What are we seeing here? The hatch, or hatchy, whatever you want to call it. I'll tell you what, Jordan Thompson Wood scores right there on the 30-yard pass, 27-22. They keep just creeping back. Then Nolan Bernard would go for the tush push, and Waxahachie takes down Duncanville 28-27 to Greg Tepper, I think, maybe start to take control of District 11 6A.
Let's roll through some DFW scores, and I want to talk a lot about that Duncanville-Waxahachie game. You see, Timberview gets a 43-42 thriller over Colleyville Heritage. A really impressive win for them. Anna, how about those Anna Coyotes? 45-13 winners over Lovejoy. In a game that got moved to, I believe it got moved to Anna at the last minute because of a power failure. Mm-hmm. I believe that's right. That game was supposed to be at Lovejoy. Because of a power failure at Lovejoy, they moved the game to Anna, and Anna gets the 45-13 win. Allen over Plano. That's a big rivalry game, but Allen did mean things to their rival. Aledo gets a 56-7 win over Birdville. How about Frisco Wakeland over Frisco Reedy, 14-10, and then North Forney. Big-time performance from Legend Bay over Mansfield Lake Ridge. Okay, you want to talk about Waxahachie and Duncanville?
That was such a stinking fun football game.
And let me tell you something. District 11 6A just got turned upside down. That Duncanville now 1-1 on the year, 0-1 in district play. And for Waxahachie, they are now in the driver's seat for District 11 6A. That is such a huge win for Coach Tollison there, and it's such a huge win. I think a proof of concept of what they've built there for to get a signature win over Duncanville. And I mean, I don't want to tell you to go to TexasFootball.com on Monday, but like the rankings are coming out in 6A, there's going to be some churn. That was at the top.
Duncanville came in ranked second in 6A, and you had Waxahachie ranked 17th.
And you had North Crowley. That was ranked number 3, right? There's going to be some churn at the top. That is a fabulous, fabulous win for Waxahachie and Coach Tollison. Fantastic stuff there.
Go back and watch that one on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, by the way. It's up on VOD. It's worth the watch.
And by the way, Waxahachie scores the final 19 points of that game to win it 28-27. Another thriller in the DFW Metroplex. Mansfield Timberview pulls off a 43-42 win over Colleyville Heritage, and there to see it was our very own Matt Stepp, who joins us now on the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Hotline. Stepp, we appreciate you hopping on with us. You sure know how to pick them, buddy. What a ball game you got.
Yeah, on a crazy night of Texas high school football across the state of Texas, this game maybe doesn't have the hype that others had, but it might have been the craziest game. Mansfield Timberview twice rallies from 3 touchdown deficits in the second half. 3 second-half interceptions. They scored 3 non-offensive touchdowns. Threes were wild here at Newsom Stadium, and the Wolves come back for a crazy 43-42 win. I don't know how they won this football game, guys, but Cody Coleman's ball club pulled it off. Huge win in District 3 5A Division 2 for Mansfield Timberview and first-year head coach Jacody Coleman.
Stepp, how much of a confidence builder do you think that this is for Jacody Coleman? Because obviously they come out in week 1 and they get a nice win. Then they go back-to-back losses with Denton Ryan and Argyle, 2 incredibly good teams, don't get me wrong there. But this felt like that need to win, get-back game to get those players bought back in. Do you think that this rises the confidence level for Jacody Coleman a ton?
Oh, I think it rises the confidence level for him, his coaching staff, and their kids. You know, this game mirrored the Argyle game in a lot of ways, where they were down twice. They could have folded up tents, and this time they pulled it out. And so I think this is a huge, massive confidence boost. And you know, District 3 5A Division 2 is very tough, but they're through the hardest part of the schedule. I'm not going to say it's smooth sailing from here. They still have tough games against Mansfield Summit, Burleson, Arlington, Seguin, and the Colony. But I think they can take a deep breath here and maybe try to make a run at least for that number 2 spot behind Argyle.
Well, Stepp, while we've got you and while we're talking DFW, we'd be remiss if we didn't ask you about some of the big results in DFW this weekend. Specifically, Rockwall upsets North Crowley on Thursday night on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. And then tonight, Waxahachie, the stunner over Duncanville, again on Dave Campbell's Texan Live. I'm curious as to your thoughts in what feels like a pretty seismic group of results in the DFW Metroplex.
Well, the first thing I can say is if you want to watch a banger, you need to watch a game on Texan Live because both those games are on Texan Live.
Yeah.
You just need to go ahead and subscribe and tune in because you could have watched both those games right there on Texan Live. I think for Waxahachie, obviously slaying a giant in Duncanville. We'll talk about that one first because it's top of mind since it just happened. But I think rallying from a 27-9 deficit in the second half was huge. I think the specialty, Waxahachie's special teams were massive tonight. They had the opening kickoff return for 77 yards to set up their first touchdown, a block PAT for 2 points in the first half. Then the second half kickoff, that after Duncanville goes up 27-9, they return a kickoff for a touchdown. And then the play of the game, that 4th and 2 play, I thought it was Tollison who made the tackle for Waxahachie. It was actually Jaquan Snell, the safety, screaming down the alley. If you want to watch one play from Waxahachie Duncanville, watch that fourth quarter, 4th down stop. An unbelievable tackle by Jaquan Snell. Huge confidence booster for Waxahachie. But here's the thing. They got to go to DeSoto next week. So they can't celebrate too much because there's still work ahead of them in 11-6A. They've got to have something left in the tank. I guarantee you Claude Mathis would love nothing more than to spoil Waxahachie's coronation with a big win at Eagle Stadium next Friday night. So Waxahachie can celebrate for a little while, but they got to get ready for DeSoto next week. And then I think on the other side, North Crowley, I think they've been playing with fire all year, a lot of close games. This time they got nipped. Rockwall got them, and congrats and credit to Trey Brooks' ball club there.
He's Matt Stepp. He's Dave Campbell's Texas Football High School Football Insider. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt_SteppUp817. And hear him on Tep and Step. It's a great podcast with a great producer and at least one great host. I'll let you decide who that is. Stepp, appreciate your time, buddy. He's gone. He refused to talk to me.
Yeah, I would too after spending an hour and a half talking football with you on Monday. That's enough.
Tep and Step. It's a good podcast. That's DFW. Let's go to H-Town. Big game tonight between Willis and the Woodlands in a must-see matchup. We'll pick it up in the second quarter, 7-0 Woodlands. And that is when Jack Dalton is going to find Jamison Gavin on the screen pass, and he will get in for the score. 35-yard touchdowns. 14-0 the Woodlands. They're going to run away with it, right? Jermaine Bishop has other plans. Takes the direct snap, gets in for the score. It's a 3-yard score, cuts the deficit to 14-7. Then, still in the second quarter, Bishop again in the Wildcat and again taking it to the house. 38-yard touchdown there. We're all knotted up at 14. Then, watch this play for the Woodlands. Dalton looking back. He's going to find Eli Lancaster way behind the defense on the go route. 38-yard pitch and catch at 21-14, the Woodlands. Then, second quarter, Jermaine Bishop throwing to Javion Martin. We're 21 up at the break. Then fourth quarter, Jack Dalton. Fumble! It's a fumble! Scooped up by Waylon Nolan for the Willis Wildcats. He will take it all the way back for the score. It's 35-24 Willis in a game they once trailed 14-0. Then fourth quarter, the Woodlands trying to come back. Jack Dalton then firing in the throwback to Colton Waddell in for the score. 2-point conversion, no good. 35-30. Then Jermaine Bishop puts this one on ice around the right side in for a score. Willis wins it 42-30. Let's go to some Houston area scores. Sealy gets a win over Bay City. Very impressive result there for the Tigers. A big game we had down circled in Alvin ISD as Shadow Creek gets a 27-20 win over a very improved Manville team. Katy Paetow a winner tonight over Katy Tompkins 55-44. How about Fort Bend Travis?
I mean, they're now 3-1 on the season, and the only loss that they have came from Richmond Randall, who played for a state championship last year. I think it's time that we start focusing a little bit more on Coach Sism's ball club down there in Fort Bend Travis. A great shootout win against a very good opponent.
Magnolia in a really important district win over Tomball Memorial tonight, 52-19. And how about Bridgeland, a winner tonight over Lingham Creek? A moment back there on Willis and the Woodlands. The Woodlands had been really hot. I think that had been a team to beat there in District 13-6A, and I think we had questions about Willis, right? Mm-hmm. Graduating heavy. They graduated a lot of key pieces, maybe except for number 7 in Jermaine Bishop. That is Jermaine Bishop, the most electrifying player in Texas high school football.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not like
yes.
we can certainly have a conversation about a variety of other players across the state who are really, really good. I'm telling you that from an electricity perspective, as far as he is capable of scoring every time he touches the ball, offense, defense, and special teams, I think Jermaine Bishop is the most dynamic and most electrifying player in Texas high school football.
And even more so than that, I think that with a player like that who is so capable of adding that electric spark back into a game. The fact that he is also able to step up and be a leader and someone who can calm the rest of his team down, that has always been in my mind, and I bet you Trent Miller would completely agree with that, probably the most incredible part of his game. But I mean, the Woodlands just had this one in the bag until it took Jermaine Bishop saying, hey, we're going to stop. And then everybody on his team, you just watch them start playing better. I don't think you have to worry about the Woodlands. Jack Dalton still looks incredible. The Woodlands looks like a team that's going to be able to contend, but this one was probably one of those district de facto games we talked about earlier that was so much fun to watch.
So Willis gets a really important district win, and Jermaine Bishop, obviously very impressive. You know what people can do if they like players like Jermaine Bishop? They can go to FordPlayerOfTheWeek.com/nominate. That's a segue. Because you can nominate your player for the Built Ford Tough Player of the Week, handed out here on this very network. Go to FordPlayerOfTheWeek.com/nominate to nominate your favorite player for excellence on and off the field. It's FordPlayerOfTheWeek.com/nominate. We'll be back after this brief message.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football and Higginbotham have teamed up to find the most driven team in Texas. This fall, 10 finalists will be highlighted throughout the season, with one student athlete from each team receiving the Most Driven Scholar Athlete Award for their leadership in the classroom, along with $1,000 in tuition assistance. In November, all 10 communities will rally to vote on TexasFootball.com, competing for the title of the most driven team in Texas. The school that rallies the most online votes will receive a $10,000 donation to their school, thanks to the support of Higginbotham. To learn more, visit TexasFootball.com/mostdriventeam.
Uh-oh. You good?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, if your back hurts, you should be able to get the care you need. So you can get in, get out, and get back out there. Like, fast.
Well, that is kind of my thing.
It's not complicated. Scheduling's easy on the MyBSW Health app.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road. From up in Amarillo down to San Antonio. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
And we welcome you back into Dave Campbell's Texas Football tonight, the after party of Texas high school football. Are you going to...
Is me crumpling this paper bothering you?
Yes, don't throw it at me is what I thought you were going to do. All right, we're throwing paper balls and our pets' heads are falling off, but you know what? We've got scores. Let's go over to the score zone and take a look out at the big country. How about this? So that might be a shocking first score if you haven't necessarily been keeping up with small school ball. De Leon 52, Hawley 34.
Let me tell you something.
Not something you're used to seeing, but don't get it confused. De Leon is the 10th ranked team.
I think De Leon's got the juice, man.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, they have one loss in the year to Stanford, but it's I think a decent loss to a good Stanford team that played for a title last year. They were winners tonight over Roscoe, by the way. Let me get you geeked up about a game next week.
Mm-hmm.
How about De Leon at Munster?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, get fired up.
That is huge. Yeah,
Inject it.
Heston Joby came into the game with already almost over 700 yards passing in the air. I mean, they're playing out of their mind. Another one. This one, to me, a lot more shocking, to be honest with you. But Kahoma, 15-12 for Albany.
Yeah. Kahoma beats Albany tonight, 15-12, in what can only be described as a signature win for Coach Chris Jocelyn. This is a huge, huge win for the Bulldogs to go on the road to Albany. I know it's a 3A over a 2A Division II. I get that. But Kahoma, I thought to move to 4-0, this is the kind of win over an established power that you can feel really good about. I thought that was impressive. The Dave Campbell Texas Football Computer thought that Albany would win this game by 18 points. That's a really impressive victory.
And if you're Albany, don't freak out. Coahoma is a really good team. But yeah, just a little bit shocking there when you pull up those first two scores in powerhouses like Albany and Holly. But you move on to that. Stanford riding their ways, getting a 28-7 win over Roscoe. May, how about the Tigers? A team we haven't talked much about, but they're back 60-42 over Newcastle.
Team that played for a title a couple years ago. Keep an eye on those Tigers. They may be back. Jim Ned bounces back with a nice 23-13 win over Jacksboro. And Midland Legacy gets a win over Abilene tonight, 42-28, in a game where they finally get to stay home. When driving all over the dang state to play football games, they finally come home to Midland, and they get a nice win over Abilene. The Big Country, of course, always popping, but I think Dillon is going to be the headline here, and circle right now Dillon and Munster, I think, in a really interesting cross-regional matchup that should be a lot of fun. So Dillon looking very good as well. Okay, let's roll on. Let's go to South Texas. Talk about down the South Texas. We consider South Texas to be like Greater Laredo, is a way to put it. And there's some big games going on down there tonight. Crystal City gets a 49-21 win over Uvalde tonight. Rio Hondo is a 28-7 winner over San Diego. How about Falls City 7, Bracketville 6 in what can only be described as a real pitcher's duel there. Not to get in the bullpens there, but Falls City edges out Bracketville 7-6. We're waiting for tomorrow for a big game down in the Valley. Laredo United taking on Weslaco in what should be a really interesting matchup. How about Laredo LBJ? A 28-27 squeaker over Mission Veterans Memorial. And New Braunfels Canyon gets a 41-31 win over Eagle Pass in a bit of a cross-regional matchup. Eagle Pass going on the road there. There's good football down there in Laredo. I think LBJ over Mission Vets. What you're seeing right now is a lot of cross-regional matchups between Laredo teams and Rio Grande Valley teams. That, I think, is something that we're keeping an eye on because you've got these teams that are kind of waiting for district play. They're small districts. So they have a lot. They start matching up here and starting in week 4 of games against districts that are other small districts. That's why you get Rio Grande Valley teams versus Laredo teams. That Weslaco Laredo United game is a game I've really got my eye on tomorrow, especially because I think that's a Weslaco team is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's the headliner, honestly, of this graphic of just one Laredo United there in 36A and Weslaco down in 31-6A coming out of the Valley. So a little bit of a cross-regional matchup there. But Weslaco, Chris Luna, he was their superstar wide receiver last year who has moved over into the quarterback position, and he has been incredible so far, and more so than anything, showing off that power with his legs. It's understandable why he was such a good receiver. He's averaging over 100 yards of rushing per game, so very, very excited to see the battle there between Chris Luna and then, ironically, Jorge Luna on the other side for the quarterback for Laredo United.
One of those games between South Texas and the Rio Grande Valley that we had our eye on pitted the Brownsville Veterans Memorial Chargers up against the Laredo Alexander Bulldogs, going on the road to Laredo to get to take down a win there for Brownsville Veterans Memorial. A very impressive victory for them. That's a game that we can, as you see, 20-17. Brownsville Vets gets the win to improve to 4-0 on the year. And here to talk about it is the head coach of those Brownsville Veterans Memorial Chargers. We're pleased to be joined by Coach J.C. Ramirez on the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Coaches Hotline. Coach, we appreciate your time. Congratulations on the win. I'm sure you would have preferred to win by 40 points, but I know you'll take any win by any means necessary. How were you guys able to get it done tonight?
It took a great game plan and a lot of grit. It was a really hard-fought battle. We knew last year we had a great battle on our hands, and we lost by 3. This time we were able to return the favor and get a good revenge win on the road.
Coach, not only is this a big game here for you, but honestly, a long road trip, over 200 miles that y'all are traveling there to go on the road and get this incredible win. What does that mean for your squad?
It means a lot, actually. We have a lot of respect for their program over there, and we know that we schedule each other because we both have the same goal in. It's nice to say.
Trying to get Coach.
Have a great experience.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about your defense. This is a program that you guys have always hung your hat on hard-nosed defense. What have you seen from your defense so far this year that has you encouraged?
very, very opportunistic and hard hitting. Have a great defensive coordinator taking control, and our boys fly to the ball and make plays when we really.
Or having trouble getting a hold of J.C. Ramirez there. We appreciate him taking some time after
that 200-mile road trip, man.
I'm telling you, he's on the bus. We appreciate him taking some time to hop on the bus. That is a really impressive win there for Brownsville Vets as they go on the road. And I think the people who aren't familiar with South Texas may think, like, certainly Laredo and Brownsville are close to each other, right? Not.
No.
Pull out a map.
Yeah,
and check that out.
And it's funny for them being in District 32 6A, they are in a 5-team district, so this is something that they're really used to. You sit there and you have to do a ton of non-district games. You have to really put in the work to travel anywhere down there. So anytime you can buckle up, like he said, and go get a big win, it really means a lot. So now let's take a look at some other scores from across the Rio Grande Valley as they make the trip back down. And we take a look here. Toloso Midway with a massive 57-7 win over Hebronville. Los Fresnos with a big 66-16 win over PSJA.
That's far San Juan Alamo for real ball knowers.
And Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial, how about a bounce back game against Donna North, 57-7. It felt like, Greg Tepper, they really needed this win.
I think so. I think Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial just needed something to feel good about. That I think is really important to take on I think a decent Donna North team and get that win. I think that was really important. They're at 2-1 after what's happened kind of the last couple of weeks for them. Last week or 2 weeks ago they lose to Corpus Christi Carroll in a heartbreaker, but now into district play, beat Brownsville Rivera in the first round of district play. Now Donna North. That sets up a really big game where they host PSJA North next week. That'll be huge. Edinburgh Vela gets a win 49-3 tonight over the Eagles of Mission. A real slugfest. Taffy pull, as a great man once said, between La Jolla Palmview and McAllen Row. It's Palmview that gets the 14-7 win. And Zapata, 24-0 winners over Roma tonight.
Do you know this is the fourth game that Zapata has played, and this is the fourth game they've played on the road? They have not had a home game yet this season.
Do you want to explain that to me? Do you know why?
I don't know why.
Me neither.
But they're
give us a call, Zapata ISD.
But no, I was really impressed by the Zapata defense to be able to stop Ruben Garcia Jr. He's the running back there for Roma that has been lighting people up. And I wondered going into that if they were going to be able to stop that explosive firepower that he brings to the table. And clearly, they blanked him. That's a really good win on the road for Zapata.
Very, 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 very impressive there for Zapata. Brownsville Veterans Memorial also gets a big win on the road. We appreciate Coach J.C. Ramirez hopping on with us on the bus on the Texas Farm Bureau Insurance Hotline. We got more to come, more scores and highlights just around the corner if you stay with us on Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road, from up in Amarillo down to San Antone. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Dave Campbell's Texan Lives Athlete of the Month, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, shines a spotlight on one outstanding female and one exceptional male athlete each month who exemplify excellence on and off the field. This prestigious recognition celebrates student athletes who demonstrate remarkable athletic performance, unwavering dedication to their teams, and a commitment to their communities. To nominate your student athlete, scan the QR code on screen or visit texasfootball.com/athlete of the month. With support from Dick's Sporting Goods, we are proud to honor these young leaders who inspire their peers and represent the best of Texas high school sports.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and Baylor Scott & White Health.
Welcome back to Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, where we are taking you all across the state of Texas. The Friday night road trip. We've gone as far as Texoma down to South Texas. Well, how about we find some Central Texas action and head down to the capital city, down in Austin. Lake Travis taking on San Marcos. Lake Travis starts off with a 30-yard field goal from Brandon Doan. Then Lake Travis making the first touchdown of the game with who else other than superstar running back Van Hopping. And Oh, yeah, he almost trips. No, he just keeps going. This guy's insane. Lake Travis, a 45-yard field goal on this one. Then Luke Travis, it's Luke McBride throwing to Lark Siddle, who will make that sliding catch. And San Marcos finally able to get on the scoreboard, but they will go on to win it 41-6. As we take a look at more action down from the capital city, Columbus in a nice win over Madisonville. That's punching up as well.
Yeah, and I think an important win for Columbus to kind of like a retrenching win for them. This has been, I think a difficult kind of couple of weeks for them. They're not used to it, but suddenly they are back in the win column with a 28-13 win over Madisonville. Dripping Springs, big winners tonight over Buda Johnson, 52-0. Lexington, the Case Evans train keeps on rolling, 56-21 winners over Groesbeck. Where were you when you found out about the 4-0 Cedar Park Vista Ridge Rangers? 31-21 winners tonight. We were right here. Big win for them. Hutto winner tonight over Manor, 56-7. That's homecoming win for the Hippos. Big win for them. And Pflugerville Weiss gets right against Kyle Lehman, 87-0. In that district of doom, we were talking about District 12-5A. They lost a close one last week to A&M Consolidated. Perhaps took out some frustrations tonight.
I think going back real fast to that Lake Travis and San Marcos game, I think we're still trying to figure out what this San Marcos team is.
Yeah.
They don't really get to play a whole lot last year with everything that went on, but now they come back and there's times like against Pflugerville Weiss where they look like a really good team, and there's times tonight where they just couldn't really get it done. But I think more than anything, Hank Carter has his ball club rolling right now. Van Hopping needs to be in the conversation. Talk about a built for a tough player of the week.
Yeah.
He's so good.
You know what's interesting? I think it's funny because Van Hopping, I think, is a victim's too strong, but he is the recipient of a little bit of challenges simply because he plays running back for Lake Travis. If you play running back for Katy, right, you're going to get noticed. Yeah. If you play running back for Euless Trinity, if you play running back for Liberty Hill or any of these teams that run the dang ball, that's going to be one thing. Lake Travis puts quarterbacks in the NFL. Yep. Like Lake Travis as Baker Mayfield, right? Garrett Gilbert, some of the best quarterbacks in Texas high school history. I think that it's hard for people to wrap their mind around the fact that Lake Travis's best player is a running back, but Van Hopping's a dog, man.
And not only is a running back, has been the running back. You go back 3 years ago, and he just is so consistent. He has a lot of miles put on him, and it doesn't affect him at all. He's an incredible player.
It is. He's absolutely remarkable, and Lake Travis is now rolling. Let's go from the Austin area to Greater San Angelo to the Concho Valley, where San Angelo Central took on Belton in a big-time matchup. Let's go to the highlights of the Concho Valley. First of all, go to scores, maybe. Hi. There we go. Hi. San Angelo Central taking on Belton. San Angelo Central going to start things off. It's Xavion Johnson who gets in for the score, escaping 3 defenders. Then more from Central. This time, it's going to be Micah Smith firing to Jimmy Edwards. And Jimmy in for the score for a 40-yard score. Belton would answer with a touchdown of their own. This is Will Shepard dropping back, firing deep. Tim Cox is going to haul it in and go the rest of the way in for the score. Belton closes the gap to 14-7, but more from Central. This time it's Micah Smith firing Jimmy Edwards again for a 25-yard score. Then more from Central. This time Edwards to Micah Smith for a touchdown. Again, Belton comes right back though. This would be Will Shepard finding Gino Zecca in for the score. What a grab from that young man. But more from Central, more from the Angry Orange. Xavion Johnson bulldozing through defenders for the score. Then again, Central going up. Smith to Colton Hill for the grab. One more, Elijah Allen gets this touchdown. Central wins it 49-21 over Belton. To the Concho Valley we go. How about that? How about Junction with a win tonight over Mason tonight, 27-16. Impressive from Junction. I've said this before. I'm pretty high on Junction. I think that's an impressive win there for the Eagles. Menard in 6-man football. I believe that was a battle of unbeaten, surprise unbeaten to Menard and Bront. But Menard gets the win.
The Ozona Hive.
Folks.
Christian Villarreal is that dude.
The Ozona Hive is rolling, baby. Ozona's 4-0, 68-19 over Harper tonight. Guys, there's room on the bandwagon. There's room. If you want to hop on the Ozona bandwagon,
we're there.
Come on with us. Get on with it. More scores there. Brady with a bounce-back win over Ballinger, 36-19. How about one of the thrillers of the night? San Angelo Lakeview wins at 50-49 over Lubbock High in a wild and woolly game, and then Wall continues to roll, the number 2 team in 3A Division II with a 50-13 win over Monahans. It's a deep year there in the Concho Valley. A lot of eyes are going to be on Wall, but I think you've got this really good kind of secondary group of teams that are kind of rising up. We're kind of not joking about Ozona, but like we're hopping on the Ozona bandwagon. There's a good crop of Concho Valley teams out there that I think we haven't seen in quite some time.
Yeah, and I think specifically with that San Angelo Central game that we saw the highlights of there, that was a really, really good win for that team. They get on the road, they travel all the way down to Belton, and they're able to pull it out, and it was in complete dominating fashion. And Micah Smith, the junior quarterback, looked every bit the part of an operator of an offense tonight. He really did an incredible job, and if he can continue to make the connections with Jimmy Edwards there, it's going to be something special. But coach's kid there, so a big win for Micah Smith and his dad, Coach Marks.
Yeah, absolutely. So San Angelo Central, a winner tonight over Belton. So that's Concho Valley. I believe you're going to take us to... Where are you taking us to?
I don't know.
Don't you have another highlight?
I do.
I'm just sitting
Let's
here
go
waiting
ahead
for you.
and head out to
I'm trying to segue you.
No, but it's really funny if I just don't.
Live television.
We're heading down to the greater Houston area. It is Klein Oak taking on Klein Kane. We start off in the second quarter here. The first time that we get some scores going. On 3rd and goal, it's senior Klein Kane quarterback Zach Johnson, who will keep it himself and make it 7-0. Then 3rd quarter, sophomore running back Micah Rhodes, touchdown right up the middle to take the lead and make it 10-7. 4th quarter now, and it's Klein Oak senior wide receiver Trey Robinson who's going to break through the line and go 54 yards to the house to put them up 17-7. Then again in the 4th quarter, senior wide receiver Corey Streams with the big time grab up the left sideline. He goes, tightens the score for Kane from 17-14. Back and forth. We are a little bit further here. 19 seconds left, and the 23-yard field goal by Noah Ballard is good. Then in overtime, Zach Johnson with the quarterback sneak on the 1-yard line. Klein Kane ends up winning that one at 23-17 in an absolute district thriller there.
Let's go from the Houston area down to the Golden Triangle, talk about some of these scores. Fort Bend Crawford, nice bounce back win over Hampshire Finette in a big way, 63-21 tonight over the Longhorns of Hampshire Finette. Beaumont Westbrook, tell your friends. Winners tonight over Silsbee, 49-14. Beaumont United gets a win in the win column. That's a 4A Jasper taking on a 6A in Beaumont United, but an impressive win there for Beaumont United, especially defensively, 14-0. Cushing gets a win tonight over Evadale. Port Arthur Memorial, very impressive in a weird cross-regional matchup, but they took on Cleburne, but they get the win 52-14. And West Orange Stark beats a good private school team, Bel Air Episcopal, 52-23. Hiawatha Hickman's Ball Club gets a much needed win, I think, as they careen towards district play there down there in the Golden Triangle. I think that for Beaumont Westbrook, I want to make sure I got this right. I believe they are now 4-0. Yes, they dang sure are, Bob. The Beaumont Westbrook Bruins are 4-0. It has not been smooth sailing necessarily since that appearance in that 2018 title game where they came up just short to Longview. They've made coaching change. They're trying to figure things out. But now, I know that's a 5A beating a 4A there in Beaumont Westbrook over Silsbee. But for Westbrook, this is proof of concept here and moving forward in a big way. And their defense has been terrific. In 4 games, they've given up 38 points all year. Very impressive for the Bruins.
Well, and I was going to say, I'm even more impressed by the offense because you're going up against a Silsbee team who was just handed their first loss of the season. And they have played really competitive games where they beat Viter, Little Cypress, Mauriceville, Nederland. I mean, going all around that Golden Triangle area. And the most that they've given up is 15 points in a game. 15, 14, 13. So for Beaumont Westbrook's offense to take advantage of a Silsbee defense that's looked really stout this year, impressive win. Are you by chance getting a little hungry?
I'm a bit peckish. I would
You
say.
think like a midnight
I think
eating out of the fridge session?
I think what we should do is we should just see what's left over. Just go in the fridge and see what's there. Coming up next, the grand finale of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight. We're eating out of the fridge, plus more surprises you don't want to miss after the break.
I've seen a lot of Texas out on the open road. From up in Amarillo down to San Antonio. No matter where I travel, one thing remains the same. Everybody loves Ford here in the Lone Star State. Ford is the best in Texas.
Whatever it is you wrangle, whatever seeds you sow, no matter what you nurture or what you choose to grow, at Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, we're proud to protect all Texans.
Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers, Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, and Baylor Scott & White Health.
It's Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight, wrapping up a Week 4 edition in a wild and woolly week of Texas high school football. But look, we understand what happens. It's late. You're feeling a little hungry. You're wondering, man, what is there to eat around here? So what you do, you go to the fridge. You just eat whatever's in that Tupperware, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing here. We like to call this segment the currently unsponsored eating out of the fridge. But Frigidaire or any of you eating it Tupperware, any of you sponsors who want to hop on the board with this.
Container store?
Yeah, I love this.
We're here. We're open.
Actually, by mentioning your name, we'll just invoice you, and then we'll kind of go from there. Let's eat out of the fridge, Ashley Pickle.
And we head down to the Coastal Bend for our first meal of the night. It's Gregory Portland taking on Sinton. Portland sitting at 3-0, averaging 40 points a game against a team who's averaging 38 points a game. Early in the first quarter, it's Coach Troutman or Kenny Rogers. The gambler calls a fake punt, and Micah Green converts, hurdling a defender on the way, and it pays off. A nice seal block from Clay Mitchell opens the gap for Green, and it's a 29-yard scamper for the touchdown. Sinton leads 7-0 in the second quarter, and what a surprise. The student section is loving it, featuring the Lorax, if you will.
Love it.
That is incredible. And here's more from the rush attack for Sinton. It's all Green in front of Micah. He flips the field in a foot race, and that's 70 yards before he's brought down there in the red zone. But Gregory Portland's defense, they're like, hey, you're not going to do that to us again. They make a stand, and Blake Bolderin is going to knock this one through. It's good. The Pirates are rolling up 10-0. Even with an uphill climb, the Wildcats did not waver. Eli Supnet with the bull rush, and Angel Reyes cleans up the leftovers.
Get it?
Mm-hmm. Great sack from Gregory Portland. How about this play? Carter Dominguez looking downfield and into the receiver's hands, but it goes into waiting arms of Sean Hughes. That's why you practice that tip drill. It was a rough day offensively for the Wildcats, as Sinton is going to take this one 38-28 over Gregory Portland.
That's a big game down there on the Coastal Bend. Let's go to a big game out in East Texas. Battle of the Bulldogs. Chapel Hill taking on Carthage. Both undefeated, and somebody's O must go. Chapel Hill comes out swinging, and they elect to receive, and Malik G dropping this dime. Malik Brown goes up and gets it. Breaks a tackle, in for the score. Chapel Hill up early. They're loving it. They brought their cowbells and everything. Carthage responds, though. Touchdown catch here from Bryston Price. In for the score. A little touchdown dance, too. Yeah, I love it. There you go. Chapel Hill can't respond on offense, but their defense steps up. This ball, Jet Surratt looking, firing, picked off! It's Karion Green who's going to take it back for a pick and then a 6. In for the score. Chapel Hill is rolling. They're fired up. Then Chapel Hill throwing the kitchen sink at Carthage. Gets the onside kick recovery, and then how about this catch? DeMercy on Blaylock! What a grab! Up and gets its 21-7 Chapel Hill. Carthage scores and their defense gets a stop, and just like that, KJ Edwards knots this ball game up at 21. We're still in the first half. Chapel Hill's defense stalled back-to-back drive, but it's okay because it's another interception, this one from Caden Franklin. Buckle up because the ending is a doozy here. Malik Brown going up, another sweet grab there. Makes it 28-21 Chapel Hill. Then just before the half, here comes Carthage on a kick return. It's Jace Harris around the left side, knots this ball game up at 28 apiece. That was all just in the first half. Carthage would pull away in the second half to win this one 56-34 as the number one team and defending state champs in 4A Division II. The Carthage Bulldogs remain undefeated at 56-34 winners tonight over Chapel Hill in a wild and woolly East Texas throwdown.
You tired after that one?
I'm a bit tired. You see KJ Edwards, who's going to be tired tonight as well.
Well, that's fine because we're going to head down to the Rio Grande Valley. Down to the 956 we go as we round out eating out of the fridge. If you're getting tired, just eat a little bit more. It's Laredo LBJ taking on Mission Vets. This one, first off from Vets, Roman Reyna run for the first down. We'll keep moving the chains. Reyna, then he's going to look and find Quentin Valverde, the touchdown. 7-0 Mission Vets. I know David Gilpin is pumped about that one.
That's so.
So more here as Laredo LBJ goes to answer. This is Mauricio Lopez, who's going to wait for it.
I'm waiting.
He's going to wait for it.
We're
all waiting for it. He's going to get it, and don't worry, he makes it worth it for you. Up the middle, tied 7-7. Laredo LBJ would go on to win an absolute thriller, 28-27.
So those are some highlights from kind of spanning the state. We went from, what was the first highlight? Gregory Point. We went from the coast to East Texas to the valley.
Because
Pretty
why
good.
not? That's what we do.
Because that's how we do. That's how we eat out of the fridge. Another way we eat out of the fridge, in a new segment we're liking to introduce here. We mentioned earlier that Ashley Pickle's beloved Llano Yellow Jackets fell tonight. But we don't want to make this about Ashley Pickle as much as I would love to do that. Instead, we just want to spotlight around here Dave Campbell's Texas football crew. Almost all of us are native Texans. Almost all of us have a Texas high school football team. We're all alumni. And so let's take a look at how the Dave Campbell's Texas football crew's alumni fared, alma maters fared tonight. The mighty Coppell Cowboys taking a break.
It's a good thing because none of these are very positive in our favor.
I know. Ashley Pickles, Llano Yellow Jackets.
Fat L.
Fell to Gerald. Matt Steps Everman Bulldogs fall
Took
short
the
to
L.
the Colony. How about Vianney Moreno's Lake Dallas Falcons? That's
go.
right. LD in the building. 28-24 or 28-14 winners over Lake Worth. The SCO for Carter Yates, 56-28 winners over Frisco Heritage.
Absolutely somewhere pumping his fist right now.
Meanwhile, Mallory Hartley's Arlington Colts.
KICKEM, kick 'em, Colts kick 'em.
28-21 winners over Haltom. Meanwhile, William Wilkerson and his son Theo, unfortunately, they're
Theo didn't choose this life. He was born into it.
Gonzalez gets a 35-9 win over Pleasanton. Gavin Moritz's Atascocita Eagles were idle. So were Mike Craven's Cedar Park Timberwolves. And meanwhile, our chief content officer, Brooke Miller, her Keller Indians fell just short to Hearst LD Bell tonight, 31-28.
So
she did not know she was making an appearance on the show.
Mallory, Carter, and V&A, the only ones celebrating alma mater's wins.
It's a brutal night for the Dave Campbell's Texas football staff.
You know,
it's tough. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll see whose alma maters can do the best this year.
So there are the scores from this week that we were keeping an eye on. How about we take a look at next week?
Yeah, let's take a look at our Texas Ford dealers built Ford tough games to watch for next week. Belleville and Columbus is pretty stinking good.
A lot more interesting now that Columbus was able to get that win tonight.
Argyle-Colleyville Heritage is interesting, too. Colleyville Heritage, how do they bounce back after tonight's loss to Mansfield? Timberview. Bremont and Mart is a huge district game down there in Central Texas. Can Mart kind of reestablish themselves as a power there in 2A Division II down there under new coach Chris Lancaster going up against a Bremont team that is rolling? Smithson Valley and San Antonio Piper. Can San Antonio Piper find a way through what has been one of the best defenses in Texas high school football? And then you want to talk about those last two?
Yeah, how about Salina and Frisco Panther Creek? My goodness, that's a massive district matchup there. We'll see if Bo Bentley and company can continue on the winning track that they had after their big win over Franklin tonight. And then down in the Houston area, a massive one between Iowa Colony and Richmond Randall. One to keep your eye on because I think some of the Dave Campbell's crew might be down there. Just a little bit game. Of a teaser. But there you go. The Built Ford Tough games to watch this week. All right, Greg Tepper, as we do every week, an incredible slate of games. Any overarching final thoughts that you need to get off your chest here?
No. Yeah, I mean, a few. I think we're going to focus a lot on what a shakeup this week was, especially in 6A. There were some games that I think really kind of shook things up as far as teams in non-district play or district play making. There's going to be some changes at the top of 6A. But I think that you take a look at some of the teams that won this week. South Lake Carroll, a big winner over Euless Trinity. That's a huge win for them. I take a look at Carthage getting a win over Chapel Hill. That as much churn and as much as parity I think there is in 6A, I think you're starting to see some separation in some of the smaller classifications. I will say there is a one exception. That's 3A Division 1. We were talking about this in the break. I have no idea what to make of 3A Division 1.
Chaos.
Absolute chaos.
Franklin goes out there. They punch up against the number 1 team in 4A, and you're going, okay, it was a good loss, and coaches hate good losses. But it's it is. Llano goes out, and we were thinking maybe they get moved up to number 1 if they can take down Jarrell. That didn't happen. The next up is, oh goodness, who was the third?
Winsboro, who gets a close win tonight over Hooks.
And so you're going, okay, close wins tonight, and this is what makes it so incredibly fun when it comes to rankings. So you can tune in to Texas Football Today on Monday to be able to, no, I guess we don't do that anymore. Duh.
No, but you can find the rankings on TexasFootball.com.
And if you're a subscriber, you get them early.
And you can overreact on Texas Football Today on Monday. That's gonna do it for us. We do appreciate you spending your Friday evening with us. We appreciate everybody who made this happen. For our producer Vianney Moreno and Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. We will see you Monday for Texas Football Today. We will see you next week for Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight.